Okay, great. All right, we're recording now. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for hopping on. And I love seeing everybody's faces. They show their faces for you, Zach, which is a great sign. They're really excited for you to come and share some of your wisdom. So a lot of people on our team are actually pretty new and have not been to an event yet. A lot of them are coming, their first time is Celebration in August. So, some of them might not know much about you, but they're really, really excited to hear, a little bit more about your story. And just from, what Rod and I have been following you from the beginning, I actually looked back on my messenger and I messaged you back in 2016. That was really when I was just starting the business, and I asked you a question and you answered me. And then I had another time that I had asked you a question. You took the time, you left me a voice clip on how to download one of your videos from a group and save it. You've always been so gracious. You really are one team mentality, just super friendly and approachable. And I just think it's really important, because you are so successful and you're so prominent on social media. You offer so much amazing content. You just nail it every single time. So Rod and I have been following you for a long time, and we're just so honored to have you take your time out today and be on our team call. So thank you so much. And I think the best thing to start with is just if you can share a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got involved with Isagenix. I know some people might have heard your story, but like I said, a lot of people are brand new and have not heard it. So just a little bit about your background and how you kind of got involved with Isagenix.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you for having me. I'm always honored when other leaders ask me to come and share on their calls and to do my best to provide value to other people's teams and communities. And I really do, it's interesting when you talk about one team. I really believe that that every single person on this call and every person that's going to watch the recording, if they do decide to watch the recording, I do believe that all of you are in my organization. I really think of it that way. And the reason I think of it that way is because let's just imagine that I'm just going to pick somebody. So I can see Brandon on the screen, Brandon Keith, I can see him on the screen. I don't know anything about Brandon. I don't know anything about his background, but what I know is this. Let's just imagine for a second that Brandon plugs into some of the training that I do or that Eden does or whatever it is. And Brandon goes out and Brandon all of a sudden is able to fire his boss, travel all over the world, have financial freedom, have his life changed in some capacity because of Isagenix. Well, that's amazing for Brandon's life. And also what that does is it creates a new story. And we're in the business of telling stories. So the more stories I can help to positively create, right, or at least somewhat influence in any capacity, the more I can readily share with other people who I'm speaking with, right, how Isagenix can help them in their lives. So I really look at it that way. I really view every single person in this company as being a part of my organization, because the more I can serve and the more I can help, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to collect a new story that then can empower somebody that I'm speaking with to want to get started. So that's kind of my personal philosophy on that whole thing. So speaking of stories, I'll do my best to give you the Cliffs Notes version. I got started in network marketing when I was about 24 years old. I was already familiar with network marketing. My dad had done network marketing years earlier. I thought it was a little bit of a joke of an industry. But at 24 years old, a friend of mine introduced me to an opportunity, and I started to do some research on the network marketing profession, and I really fell in love with the business model. I really understood the value of the business model. I understood the ability to create residual income. I understood the ability to lead people and to really create freedom in my life. And I understood that. But what most impacted me when I was doing my research was I came across a statistic that said the divorce rate in the United States would be reduced by 50% with an additional $300 to $500 a month brought into the household. 50%, and only an extra $300 to $500 a month, which is crazy to me. And the reason that was empowering to me was because my parents divorced because my dad financially really struggled for probably the better part of the last 10 of 20 years that he was married to my mom. And so I saw that and I was like, wow, well, I know not everyone's going to hit a financial home run doing this. I know that's not reality. I know it's a percentage of people that are going to make the decision. But what if I can help, bring that 50% number down by helping more people create an extra $300 to $500 a month? So that was my first why. That was my very first reason why I wanted to build a network marketing business, was to help keep families together. And anyway, long story short, I got into that company. 6 months later, the CEO took off with the money. A year after that, I joined another company where it was a $20,000 investment to get started in that company. I had about $300 in my bank account. I raised the money. I found $20,000, which is why I always laugh when people tell me the value pack is too expensive. I just chuckle inside. I just giggle. I do. Um, so that's a whole other conversation. And I got into that company and I did really well. I made about $250,000 inside of 10 months, but I was 26 years old. And like most 26-year-old, I was arrogant and I thought I knew what I was doing. And I blew through all of it along with my ex-fiance. And at that point, I started to kind of become jaded towards the network marketing industry. I started to kind of point fingers at the industry. I started pointing fingers at the people that made up the industry. And I really got away from it. And I'd get brought in here and there to train for different companies who had kind of started to hear about me because I was doing social media marketing in a way that no one was really using Facebook at the time and things like that. But I kept seeing behind the curtains of all these companies. I just kept getting let down and disappointed by really who was leading the company, if you will. And so I made a commitment to one of my old best friends and business partners that I would never get back into network marketing. Hold on, can you guys hear that background noise? You can. Hang on 1 second, please. Sorry, this is real life, folks.
No problem.
Real life. So I swore off network marketing completely, and I was offered money, cars, positions, you name it, and I said no to everything. Well, it wasn't until what was it? It was spring of 2012. I was working out at the gym, and I ran into a woman who was a part of Isogenics, and she started talking to me pretty extensively about Isogenics. And I was like, look, I know all about Isogenics. I want nothing to do with network marketing, but I am interested and open to getting on the products because I was in the gym 6 days a week anyway. I was eating organic. I was following the paleo diet at the time, and nothing I was doing was getting me back into the peak physical condition that I was accustomed to being in when I was younger. So I got on Isogenics, and within a relatively short period of time, I dropped 20 pounds of fat, 3 gene sizes, and I went from 15% to about 8.5% body fat. And the only thing I had changed was my nutrition. Well, when Eden and I first started dating, and Eden's my wife, for those guys that don't know, when we first started dating and I first took off my shirt, let's just say she was mildly impressed with my physique. And she wanted to know what I used for my nutrition. And I actually didn't want to tell her because I didn't want her to know it was a network marketing company. So I was like, I use these shakes. I have a wholesale account. No big deal. I'll bring you some. Well, she was getting ready to go on a trip to Vietnam. And this was now in December of 2012. And she was worried about having access to clean food. So I said, look, take a box of shakes with you. That way you can always at least have one good meal. So Eden goes to Vietnam. She's there for 2.5 weeks. She's having one shake a day, notices that her clothes are fitting a little bit more loosely. Her energy's up. She feels amazing. Well, her boss at the time wouldn't give her the day off when she came home. So after a 30-hour travel day back from Vietnam to LA, which is where we were living at the time, her boss made her come into the office. And so I don't know if it just go like this. How many of you have seen Devil Wears Prada? Just go like this, right? So Meryl Streep for sure was inspired by Eden's former boss, like just guaranteed, right? That was like character acting 101. So anyway, Eden walks into her office. Meryl Streep looks at her, just kidding. Her boss, Kathy, looks at her and says, you look amazing. How do you look so good after traveling all these hours? And she says, well, Zach has me on these shakes and I feel really, really great. And her boss says, well, I'd like to try some. So Eden sends me a chat message and she says, hey, Kathy wants to try the shakes. Now I'm sitting here going like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want her to know that it's network marketing. Like, I don't want to buy her boss a bunch of product. Like, so I do what any intelligent person would do. I ignore her. Okay. For those of you that have not met my wife, let me help you understand a little bit about Eden Slobin. Eden Slobin, when Eden sees that she wants something, doesn't matter if you put a brick wall in front of her, light the brick wall on fire, put barbed wire over the top. If Eden sees something that Eden wants, Eden's going to find a way to get it. She's just an empowered, powerful, independent woman. So she comes home, she puts her laptop down in front of me. She says, look, I went to the Isogenics website. I can't figure out how to order this stuff. My boss wants to try some. I know a bunch of my girlfriends would love this stuff. What's the deal? And that's when the entrepreneur and the networker in me came out, and I was like, well, how many of your friends would love this stuff? And she goes, I know a ton of people. Why? I said, look, I've been really reluctant to share this with you, but Isogenics is a network marketing company. And I kid you guys not, she slams her hand down the table. She's like, I can't believe it. Tell me it's network marketing. I'm all about residual income. Who do I talk to next? So on the one hand, it's like the clouds part, the trumpets are blaring. Thank you, God, confirmed soulmate for sure. On the other hand, terrified, pooping my pants, because I just started dating her. We'd only been dating for about a month and a half, 2 months at the most at that point. I knew I was going to marry her. And there was no way I was going to get into business with her that early in our relationship. No chance, especially in network marketing where I know what it takes to build. So I said to her, I was like, look, I'm retired from network marketing. I want nothing to do with this. I'll support you. I'll answer any questions that you have, but just know it takes a lot of hard work. Like, well, and she's like, I'm going to go do it. And I was like, okay, great. She got on a full 30-day system. She dropped 12 pounds, 25 inches in 2 dress sizes. And in her first couple of months, with no experience whatsoever, working as a financial controller for a very high-pressure entertainment company, in little 15-minute pockets of her day, she made over $3,000 on her own. Now, I would answer questions here and there, but I was really not involved in the process. Well, at the end of her second month, some things happened at her job where essentially her job, her COO, wanted Eden to replace her direct boss, her mentor, who Eden was half her age, and they were going to pay her basically a third of the salary. So they wanted to essentially stab her mentor of 7 years in the back, and Eden said, there's no way I'm going to do that. So Eden comes home that night and verbatim says, look, dude, she goes, I Googled you. I know you're an expert at this. I've seen your videos. I've read some of your articles. I didn't spend the last 10 years of my life looking for the man I want to be married to just to be separated by 14 or 15 hours a day doing things that we hate. What about when we have kids? I want us to be able to travel together. Come do this with me. And it was in that moment that I saw that Isogenics had done something I'd never seen before in network marketing, and that's this. It's because we invest money, so much money, into the research and science and development of products that actually work. We take a person with no experience whatsoever and we turn them into a referral machine. But beyond turning them into a referral machine, what I saw was the $3,000. Not the fact that it was $3,000, like, oh yeah, $3,000. But what I saw was, remember what I first said? Remember what I said? I said, I want to help you reduce the divorce rate. I want to show people how to make an extra $300 to $500 a month. The problem with most compensation plans is a superstar can go in there and make money. But what about your everyday person with no experience? It's not set up for them to win. And I looked at it and I said, oh my God, look at the generosity of this compensation plan. Look at all the upfront bonuses. I said, a person can make an extra $300 to $500 a month by simply enrolling 2 people a month, 2 new customers a month on at the time, President's Packs. Are you kidding me? And I knew about the reputation of Jim and Kathy Coover. I knew the history of the company. And I said to Eden, I said, okay, I said, but here's the deal. I said, if we're going to do this and we're going to do this, it's my way or the highway. There are going to be times where the boyfriend hat comes off and the coach hat goes on. And there are going to be times where you don't like me and you're going to fight me and you're going to push back. And I promise you right now, I promise you, if at any moment you push back or this creates tension or anything along those lines, I'm out. I said, because we're going to do this my way, because the only way I know how to do this is run fast and run straight to the top of this company. And she said, okay, I'm all in. And I said, let's go. And that was about 6.5 years ago, and 50,000 amazing, incredible people later.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
I love what I heard when you said how Eden came in with no network marketing experience and just had such a personal experience with the products. So that's kind of, obviously totally how we were. And our team is really that way too. So I love that you said that, because I don't think that we have anybody with background network marketing experience, definitely not to the level of, somebody that's worked their way to the top of a company. So how important is that, for you, that you started with, you loved the products? How important is that, that product connection and that results-based initial feeling, do you think?
I think it's really important, but at the same time, I think that oftentimes we can hide behind that a little bit too much, and I think that it gets in a lot of people's way. I think that we can, and that was that, a lot of people ask, like, if you could do everything all over again, what would you do? And we always say the same thing, which is we would have flipped in terms of our passion and conversation about the opportunity much earlier in our build. So yes, I think that being a product, the product is absolutely essential, because integrity and being in alignment is, I believe, the best way to do business in any economy, let alone today's economy, where you look at so many people who have mistrust when it comes to big brands and things like that. I think that's what makes network marketing special, is it's a real personal testimonial. So I think it's super important that you have some sort of a belief in the product. I think it's a necessity. Otherwise, this thing becomes a real grind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think your posts to me I think you just have such an eloquent way of showing people how they're kind of in their own way a lot. And you have a way of putting it that's, and you kind of show people this self-awareness in such a loving and nurturing way. Like, I haven't seen many people do it as well as you have. And I think that that's an issue a lot of people deal with, especially new. I know even my team has admitted, I just did a survey recently, and a lot of them have admitted they're in their own way. There's a lot of maybe some fear there. What are some ways that you would give just some of your advice about moving past that? Because I know just from my own journey I know that personal development and building and believing it can get you to that other side. I know that it's possible. You don't have to come in here and join and be like super confident and know everything. I know there's a journey, but what are some things that you can maybe add to that if you ever see that in your team or people that you work with, that they want it really bad, but there's a block that they're kind of in their own way, and what's the best way to kind of, in your opinion, to move that out?
Well, first, thanks for the compliment. I appreciate that. It's interesting. There's a difference between somebody who wants it and then the person who's willing to become the person who attains it. And those are two different people. Who you are today is a far cry from who you're going to get to stretch to become, to have the things that you desire having. That's reality. They are two different people. And it's the question of how willing are we to shed our masks and release old stories and old programming and old conditioning and old beliefs and old patterns of behavior, and how willing are we to essentially take a deep introspective look at how we've been living our lives, who we've been in the process, and are we willing to acknowledge the ways in which we've contributed to our life as it stands? Are we willing to take radical responsibility for who we are and the results that we have, so that we can then reframe our life and then create new results? And that's the big question. And I think that's really what stops a lot of people, is a lack of willingness to really kind of challenge belief systems that have been ingratiated into us and ingrained into us for however many years you've been on the planet. And it's a stretch, and it can be not, well, I guess scary is the right word, because, sometimes we find some things that we don't like about ourselves, but what I do know for sure is that you're surrounded by a community of people who are also on this growth trajectory, who are going to support you and who are going to, who are going to be a stand for you in that capacity. So I think that the more you're willing to go to work on reprogramming the stories that you tell yourself, the faster, I promise you, the faster your business will grow. Because what people are going to notice in you energetically is, wow, that's not the Valerie I know. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what Eliza's doing. I don't know what Nicole, you are different. You are different. You are evolving as a human being, and you are becoming a person that's making it safe for me to believe that I can also become a different person. So
that was,
I don't know if that answers your question.
I love that. That was so well said. So well said. The other question I had for you, Zach, is, you mentioned that you had looked back and wished that you infused the opportunity a little bit more, because and I totally relate to that, because I don't know if you know that we have a fitness industry background. So for us, super comfortable talking about products. And we had to obviously work and become the people we are now to have that confidence about the opportunity. So it was a journey as well. But can you give us some examples maybe of conversation? Just because I know our team, they always ask, well, how are ways to say it? And, what are different ways to say it? And I just like to hear from different leaders, like maybe some verbiage or different, I know it's different for everybody you talk to, but maybe some recent stories that you have, or maybe something you remember early on of how you would use that.
In terms of how to present the opportunity and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll teach you right now my go-to technique. I've been doing this for years and years and years, and it's called past, present, future. And is by far, hands down, the easiest way to strike up a conversation, qualify a person, and introduce them to the opportunity inside of 90 seconds. And it goes like this. So I just want to, again, I'm just picking names on the screen. I don't know any of your backgrounds, whatever. So I see Paula in the middle of my screen. So I'm just going to use you, Paula, if that's okay. Just go like that. If that's okay, I'm going to use you as a volunteer. Don't worry. You don't have to say anything or anything along those lines. But let's just imagine for a second that I'm at a restaurant and Paula happens to be our server. Okay. And I've noticed that Paula has given us great customer service, super energetic, great attitude, super friendly. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay Paula a compliment. I'm going to say, Paula, we eat at restaurants all the time. I just have to tell you, you've just been phenomenal. Thank you. Your attitude's infectious. You just really, like, you're just amazing. Like, and it's going to be a sincere, authentic compliment. Now I'm going to ask my first question, and this is the past part. I'm going to say, Paula, curiously, how long have you worked here? Right? Past. How long have you worked here? And she's going to say something like, oh, I've been here like a year, 2 years, or whatever it is, right? No matter what the answer is, I'm going to say, wow, 2 years, you must really enjoy it. Present statement. Wow, 2 years, you must really enjoy it. And Paul is going to say something along the lines of, yeah, it pays the bills, or I do like it, it gives me a chance to meet new people. Or she might say something like, actually, I can't stand my job, whatever it may be. Okay. Here comes the next question. What would you rather be doing? So past, present, future. How long have you been here? How long have you been doing this? Wow, you must really enjoy it. What would you rather be doing? Future. Right? That's it. Excuse me. Sorry, I missed a very important part. Sorry. So she says, I mean, it's future, sorry. Spaced out. I've been on like nonstop calls today, so I apologize. Okay. So Paula says, I've been here 2 years. I say, wow, 2 years, you must really enjoy it. She says, yeah, it pays the bills, blah, blah. Can you see yourself doing this for another 5 to 10 years? And you got to do that, like with the shoulders and like make the scrunchy face. Like you got to do that. That's all part of it, right? Like, so can you see yourself doing this for like another 5, 10, 15 years? And 99% of the time they're going to say, oh God, no. Right? Okay. Now it comes. What would you rather be doing? What would you rather be doing? And Paula's going to give me an answer. Well, I've always wanted to own my own business, or I'd rather be traveling, or I'd rather be working on a book that I've always wanted to write, or what, I'd rather be able to, be home with my kids, whatever the answer is. Right? And I'm going to say something very simple. I'm going to say, Paula, I almost never do this. And that's the truth, because I don't. I'm looking for very certain type of people. Paula, I almost never do this, but you'd be amazing at what my wife and I do. You'd be amazing at what my wife and I do. And now naturally, what's Paula going to do? She's going to ask, well, what do you do? I'm going to say, it's really funny you should ask. It's really funny you should ask. We show servers how to earn a full-time income working part-time from home so they can spend more time doing the things that they love, like traveling the world, spending more time with their family, or working on passion projects like writing a book. Does that sound like something you'd be open to learning more about? What do you think she's going to say? Of course she's going to say yes. Why is she going to say yes? Because I literally just fed back to her exactly what she told me she wanted. And then at that point, I'm going to say, great. Are you on Facebook or Instagram? Yes. Let's connect on there. I'm going to finish my meal. Thanks again for everything. I'll be in touch within the next 48 hours. And that's it. I don't answer any more questions. I'm out. So that technique, past, present, future, and I do a more in-depth training on it. Even I do a more in-depth training on it. If you go to our YouTube channel, which I think is like Team Easy Dream Team or something like that. I don't know if you have or you even Google Zach Newton Slobin past, present, future. You'll find a training. We're sitting in a car. That's how you'll know it's the right one. But that is one of the best ways to bring up the opportunity for sure.
That's really helpful. Thank you. And we'll definitely Google that. The other question I had was, you mentioned qualifying people. And I know in the beginning, when people get started, it's like, they're just so excited and they feel like everybody will enroll that they talk to. And I know they get disappointed if people reject them, or how that goes in the beginning. But I find it really interesting that you said you qualify people, because I know as you get into this business, you kind of look for certain people. I know that we've changed since we first started to now too. So how important is that for people to understand that, it is a numbers game, but that qualifying the right people that you really do want to work with, and not to get so hung up on just enrolling everybody and getting discouraged.
Yeah, it's super important. And here's the thing that's important to remember from day one: the ones you think will, won't, and the ones you think won't, will, and the ones you think can't, can, and the ones you think can, absolutely can't. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone else is waiting. You've got to keep that mindset all the time. So that's part one. The other part of it is understanding that no one is rejecting you. It's really important to get that. Like, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to their potential. They're saying no to transformation in their lives right now. They're saying no to a vehicle that has the ability to change their lives. So they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting their opportunity. There's a huge difference. That's why I don't take it personally at all, right? So that's really important to remember. The other important thing to remember is that the timing's not going to be right for everybody in the beginning. And you've got to understand that it's on their time, not ours, right? And so being willing to take a position of being okay with people's timing is really, really important. But I will say this, is the more quickly you can get clear on the types of people you want to attract and focus on those people, the easier this whole thing becomes. But ultimately, the best way to look at this is as if you were a server at a diner, okay? And this is what that looks like. So you walk into a diner and a server's going to come up to you, and the very first question, if you're there for breakfast, what's the very first question the server's going to ask you? Would you like some coffee, right? You go to a diner, would you like some coffee? Now, you're going to give one or two answers. You're either going to say yes or you're going to say no. If you say no, what's the server going to do? They're going to go to the next table and they're going to ask the very same question. Would you like some coffee? And the person sitting at the table is going to say yes or no. Let's say they say no. Great. Server's going to go to the next table. Would you like some coffee? Yes or no? They say no. Do you think that after 3 tables in a row of them saying no, they don't want coffee, is the server just going to be like, forget it, I'm not cut out for this, nobody wants coffee from me, I quit, I'm not smart enough to be a server at this diner, like I don't have a college education, I'm overweight, of course they don't want coffee from me? Of course not. They're not going to do that. They're just going to circle back around, and they're going to come back to your table. What are they going to ask you? Would you like some coffee? And if you say yes, what are they going to do? They're going to fill up your cup, and then they're going to go to the next table. All we are ever doing is asking people if they would like some coffee. And if they say yes, we fill them up. And if they say no, no worries. We just go to the next table and ask them if they'd like some coffee. And the more you're willing to stay in that space of understanding that truly you are here to serve people and just find out what they want. And if they want anything from you, then great. And if they don't, cool, you're just on to the next table. And that's the simplest way to deal with non-attachment and facing rejection and all that stuff is reminding yourself that your job is to serve people. And service to many leads to greatness, right? That's a very famous quote, right? Service to many leads to greatness. So the big question is, how many people are you willing on a day-to-day basis to ask if they're ready to have their cups filled up with what you have to pour?
I love that. What a great analogy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I love that. So good. I'm going to remind my team that if they get frustrated, just go find another table.
Old school network marketing, guys.
Love it. So he's talking about old school network marketing, and you have the past with network marketing, the experience and everything. This is our first, and we got lucky in our first company. A lot of people on the call also have not had any experience with network marketing in the past. So if you can just share what your feelings of, just to really build belief in the team here, in that the Cougars, their integrity, their mission, their compensation plan, the business model. Because I know starting in a new company and, you're brand new to network marketing, I know a lot of the team is just trusting maybe what they see. But for you having that experience, and like you said, you had some bad experiences, if you can share with us what you see in Isagenix and the ownership and the compensation plan that you feel is what lights you up and gets you so excited to share it, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me. I have the fortune of seeing this company from angles and perspectives that most people don't, and that's because of having had the profound honor of serving on the field advisory board for the last 2 years, developing a really close friendship with Eric Hoover, having an incredible relationship with the executive team, with Jim and Kathy. Like I literally had dinner with Jim and Kathy, just the three of us, in Amsterdam about a month and a half ago. Like, so I have a unique perspective on who these people are. And what makes Jim and Kathy so special is there's a saying, John Maxwell, leadership expert, says that everything rises and falls on leadership. And I think if you look at any organization, the greatest sports franchises in the world, the greatest businesses in the world, it all comes down to leadership, always. And what makes Jim and Kathy so unique and so different is that these are two people who day in and day out live their vision. Day in and day out, they literally wake up. Kathy is up at 4:30 in the morning, and by 5 a.m. she's answering emails, texting people back, getting on three-way calls, putting out fires every single day. They're traveling all over the world, and they are in the trenches with us. That's unique. That is so rare. Now, you take all that and you combine it with the years and years of field experience that Kathy has, the corporate experience that Jim has, and you put these two people who care so deeply about each and every one of you. And I know that's hard for you to believe because maybe you've never even met them. And maybe to you, they're just like the owners of this huge company. But take it from me, because I literally just had this conversation with them. We had just done an event together in the UK. All three of us got on a plane. We flew to Amsterdam to do another event. Then we were all a week later going to be in Korea. Okay. That's a lot of travel. And I asked them, I said, you guys, like, you don't have to do this. These guys, they're multi-millionaires. I said, Jim, Kathy, you don't have to do this. Like, why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you? I was like, I know it's hard on me. I can only imagine how hard it is on you after all these years. And they said, because of the stories. They said, because of the people. They said, because when we came out of retirement, we promised that we would be the company that would never let people down. And so we will go into our graves making sure that we lead from the front of this company. I don't know of too many other organizations that can boast that. I just don't. A lot of organizations can claim a great resume and a great track record and all that stuff, but how many people really, really, really do what they say they're going to do on a day-to-day basis, and especially do what they say they're going to do when no one's watching? It's hard to find. And I've watched Jim and Kathy as part of the field advisory board. I've watched the corporate team come to the table with some ideas for the field, and all of us push back very hard. And what would have been a massive campaign or a massive idea that the company was literally 48 hours away from rolling out, we raised our hands and we said, no. And with the press of a button, they shut it down because it wasn't right for the associates. And I can tell you story after story. Many of you probably weren't around for this. And I don't know, Gina, if you guys were either, but in 2013, we experienced the great Isadelight crisis of Isagenix. And I don't know if you guys know what that was, but in 2013, the farm where we source our cocoa from for the chocolate got flooded. And instead of going and sourcing an inferior ingredient, the company shut down sales and production of Isadelight chocolates. Now, think about how much you love Isadelight chocolates. Think about what a popular product that is. And then just kind of think about the economic impact that would have on a company's bottom line to stop selling what's easily one of the most popular, highest sold products in our catalog. And they said, we're unwilling to compromise on a single ingredient. You don't see that. How many of you guys just go like this? How many of you guys love PIBs, the upfront PIBs? I'm just going to share a little bit of history with you, okay? Most people don't know where those came from. In 2009, when the recession was really bad, Phoenix, Arizona at the time was the largest foreclosure market in the country at the time. Kathy Coover came into her executive boardroom with tears flooding down her face, and she had a newspaper, and she put the newspaper on the table, and it said Phoenix, #1 foreclosure market in the country. Now, they were at the time, headquarters was in Chandler, Arizona, so that was home for them. And Kathy's crying, and she's sitting there saying, people are losing their homes. What can we do? How can we help people? How can we help people? These people are losing their homes. And at a time when other companies were shutting down and then traditional companies were going out of business, and you have these major financial institutions eliminating people's pensions, their college funds, people were getting wiped out. And what did Jim and Kathy do? They took $20 million of their own money and added it to the front end of the compensation plan. And that's where your double PIVs came from. And that money has never left the comp plan. In fact, I think it's been another 20 or 25 million that's been added since in terms of leadership pools and things like that. So when you look at the heart of these people and the generosity of these people and the reality, not, hey, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. They have put their money where their mouth is. And that's, to me, that's unique. And that's why I like, no matter what, I have ultimate faith in Jim and Kathy Coover. I trust exactly where this company is going. And they're just remarkable, outstanding people. You can't say enough about them. You just can't.
I love that.
That's awesome, Zach. Hey, Zach, I got one for you. Not only mention, everybody on this call already, has to be fired up with this, the motivation you're spilling out, and, they're giving us the belief, about the company and the Cougars, which, we already, we already know, but it's great reinforcement. But I want you to give them some Zach motivation about how that, when people have that downtime, some people are coming in this business, they're so fired up, they're gangbusters, they go at it, and then all at once they get a lull in their business, and one lull in their business, and they're like, you know what, this isn't for me anymore. And they kind of walk away, and the picture that everybody circulates about digging, and then they got the diamond, and then you kind of walk away from it. But I think from you being in this industry and your experience, that I think it'd be great for them to hear from you, like, hey, you know what? This is the motivation when you get into that lull. Just stay the course, drive forward, and it's there. It's there. Hard work. And living out your, doing your passion. It's bound to surface.
Yeah, for sure, man. For me, it's very simple. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of resistance you can tolerate. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of resistance you can tolerate. And what's fascinating to me is that life is always going to have challenges. You're always going to have challenges. You're always going to have lulls. You're always going to have times of downtimes and uptimes. Jim Rohn used to talk about the 4 seasons, and business works the same way. Like there's winter. And if you're in a winter where your business feels cold and slow and like nothing's growing, you've got to trust and believe that the natural byproduct of winter is spring, right? And in spring is when the farmers start to plant all of these new seeds. But what's most likely where you're going to have this massive summer where you're going to have unbelievable crops is if you're willing during the winter to stay the course, to take care of the farm, to clean the machines, to clean the tractors, to take care of the family, just to nest a little bit, but you stay in it. You never stop farming. That's just part of being a farmer. You know that winter is coming. You know that it's going to happen. Some of you might be in a winter right now, but what's important is that you keep working, because and this is really important to learn, how you handle the lows will determine how high you can go. How you handle the lows will determine how high you can go.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a down spot and you're negative and you're apathetic and you're playing the victim and you are pointing the finger at everybody and you're not taking responsibility, yeah, spring's going to come again, because spring will always come, but it's not going to look the way it could look. It's not going to be full of abundance and prosperity and freedom and joy and fulfillment the way it could be. But if you're willing to dig in and learn more about yourself in those dark times, that's what's going to mold you. That's what's going to shape you. And most importantly, and this is the part I really want people to get, and it takes a while to kind of wrap our heads around. This took me years. I would submit that 80% of what we experience in our personal lives has nothing to do with us and everything to do with our ability to turn around and pay forward what we've learned to people that are in similar, if not more challenging situations. So there's some part of a winter season, there's some part of challenging times that you are required to experience, not for your growth, but so that you can lead somebody through theirs down the road. And if you're willing to take it with that attitude and that perspective of, I am being shaped right now, I am being molded right now, I am being guided right now, and depending on what your beliefs are, right, I'm being really, there is a fundamental foundation that's being built upon me such that I'll have the ability to look back, reach down, and pull somebody out of a ditch, because I was there once too. But if you stay in the ditch, you can't pull someone out of a ditch if you're down there with them. So that's what I would say is, when you're struggling, when you have anxiety, when you feel paralyzed, when you feel like things aren't moving, keep it very simple and stop making it about you. Find a way to serve, find a way to pour into somebody, and more than anything, find rational gratitude. Rational gratitude is so important, and rational gratitude is what it sounds like, right? So some of you right now, maybe your business isn't where you want it to be. Maybe you feel like people aren't joining as readily as you'd like them to. Maybe you feel like you're behind on learning how to do this or whatever. But how about some rational gratitude? How about you found your way to products that are changing your life every single day that you take them? Great. Beyond that, how about the fact that, think about this for a moment, just rational gratitude, that everyone on this call, if your feet are cold, you can get up and go to your closet and put socks on your feet. Or that you're sitting here on a technology wherever you are in the world right now, communicating with all these other people because you were able to afford a computer or an iPhone or an iPad that 95% of the population can't afford. Or consider for a moment that one cycle a week that you're earning, or $250 a month, consider for a moment that $250 a month could pay for a child in Indonesia to go to school for a year. Rational gratitude. Rational gratitude. Because if you appreciate what you have, it'll grow. But if all you're focused on is what's not happening, then I assure you, it's going to keep not happening. And that's the reality. So what can you find that you can be rationally grateful for? What can you find that you can tap into where you can look at it and go, you know what? Wow. Yeah, of course I'd like my business to be bigger and things like that. And that's all okay. You're allowed to do that. But just stop for a moment and check in and ask yourself the question, where would I be if I didn't have this opportunity in my life right now? How would I feel physically? How would I feel mentally? How would I feel emotionally? How would I feel spiritually if I hadn't gotten introduced to this? And what's waiting for me around the corner if I'm just willing to continue to pursue this with unwavering faith, with an intense amount of belief and a ton of work to become the person that other people can look to show them from the darkness into the light what might be possible in my life if I just commit to that path. And I think you'd be amazed at what you'll find. I think you'll be amazed at what you're capable of. I think you'll be amazed at the blessings that you've been given that you probably aren't really taking into consideration.
That was great.
That was excellent, Zach.
That was such a great way to end. And speaking of gratitude, I know our whole entire team is so grateful for you, not only for being on our team call tonight, but for all you do for Isagenix. You are such a team player. You pour so much belief into everybody. Your posts are so great. And every time we see them, it's like just great reminders. I just love reading all of your content. So we're so grateful for you being part of Isagenix. You affect so many more people than I think you even realize. So we thank you so much. And the fact that we just got back from Top Achievers and I reached out to do a call and you did my next call, like that was so amazing of you. And we really, truly, really appreciate it. Everybody in the chat box is lighting you up with gratitude right now, Zach.
Hey, Zach, I just want to say also, too, congratulations. We're actually really excited about you being able to close out Celebration.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be awesome.
We're psyched. And I will take care of scheduling our spa appointments in Nashville.
Oh, very well.
I got this.
Amen. Well, thank you guys, so much for having me. And I'll just leave you guys with a couple of thoughts, if that's okay.
Yes.
What's really important to remember, first of all, is the minute you stop believing the BS lies that you tell yourself is the minute that you can be, do, and have everything you desire and everything you deserve. That's really an important one. And the other important one is be really mindful of who you surround yourself with and who you allow to speak life or death into you. Because ultimately, and this is really important for you guys to get, I really want you guys to get this, environment is everything. Environment is stronger than willpower. Ultimately, the only people who will ever try and talk you out of a life of greatness are people who have talked themselves into a life of mediocrity. So, that's it.
That was great. Thank
That's
you.
amazing, Zach.
Love
Thank
that.
you.
You guys can, I'm going to unmute everybody so you could just give some shout out love. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.